Okay, so remember 3, you're gonna be making 3 or more if you want to, pinch pots. And then you're gonna have to combine those, and I gave you some different ways to combine them in the video. So we'll set these aside, and I'll remind you how to make a pinch pot. And they don't all have to be the same size. So what I'm doing is taking just a small plum size of clay, and I'm gonna put my thumb in there, right? 4 fingers on the outside, and slowly rotate it. And you'll see me changing and going in the other direction. And then you'll also see me start in the bottom and do the bottom, then do the middle, and then do the top. Okay, now my pinch pot's done, but I'm gonna make sure it's nice and thin, all the way, nice and even. So I pinch down here, I pinch through the middle, and I pinch through the top. And then you can kind of work on the edges a little bit. But once you have your 3 pinch pots done, you can let them stiffen up a little bit, wrap them up so they're good for the next day, keep them in plastic. But now you have to decide how you want them to go together. So one way I gave you was just to squash them, you know, begin to shape them like this. But you can start to think, okay, what would I want to use that for? Would it be 3 little candles? Would it be a couple chocolates? Would this be something sushi and soy sauce? So you want to start to think about how you want them to go together. So there's the squash technique. And remember, what you're going to do is you're going to take this tool and score, put slip on there, score the other side, and then really push them together and then work them together. Really blend them together. So the other way that I talked about is the cutting technique. It can be a little nerve-wracking because you're not sure if it's going to fit exactly together. So I'm going to take my pin tool, which is a nice way to cut, and now I'm going to look at it and push it into here, and then this side could go to here. So if I want to make it look like they're overlapping, that's how the one in there that we did. The other option is just to leave that piece out, right? And then cut this one, and then maybe this one goes in there, or maybe this one comes up like this. So I want you to think of them as Legos that you're beginning to put together. So you don't have to do this the same day, but you want to start to think about how do you want these dishes to go together and what do you want to use them for. Maybe you're going to decide that you want this to be a little more oval, and then this guy could be cut out here. Like that. So next up, I'll talk to you about how to actually score and slip them together. Okay, depending on how you're going to put yours together, you know, you can kind of play around with it. I am going to just show you scoring and slipping the 2 parts together. So make sure you're using your scoring tool and really rough up that whole area. We want these to make it. So now I'm going to take my slip and probably my tongue depressor and really put a lot of slip on there. So you want to kind of frost it so that when you put these 2 pieces together, they ooze out. Now the reason we do that is because we don't want air bubbles in there. So I'm going to actually smooth this the next day and also put a coil in here. So we want these to stiffen up just a little bit, but that, you know, you making your pinch pots and deciding what you want it to look like is good for a day's work. So let's just say I wanted in this one, I wanted another little one inside here, or I'm not quite sure how we would do that. Maybe this one, a little inside here. What I would do is I would take my toothpick and just mark where it is. Score this part. Score this part. Put some slip on both of them and push them together. And then we'll also talk about kind of going in and fixing that up. So that's just one part of it. Maybe I want the other part on the other side. And function is up to you. So, you know, I was talking about food, but maybe it's candles, maybe it's little incense burner. You know, I don't really like those right now, but I still have to decide, but maybe I want another little guy here. So kind of play around with the idea of your pinch pots and go back to the PowerPoint or the slideshow where I showed you, and you can also go to Pinterest. I think I have a bunch on my pinch pot page. What I did for cleanup today, because you're gonna start getting messier and messier, is I did just scrape off this on the edge of my tar paper, and then scraped it up and just put my extra little bits into my slip, so that you can kind of stir it up. If you have this much clay on your tools, you certainly can use the sink and just clean them off. You just don't want to put a lot of clay down the drain. And then you can grab your sponge, wet it, clean it off, wash this stuff up, and put all your tools away to make sure you're keeping everything nice and neat.